Give me the first thing that you think truly matters the first week of camp.
Well, I will go. I mean, besides how Jalen looks, can I use it? Because we talked about that.
Yeah, sure.
So besides that, or include that?
Whatever you want. I think we both agree that how Jalen Hurts looks.
Yeah. So the
matters.
first week. So,
but if there's like a specific thing about Jalen that you'd like to talk about.
Here, how about this? What Jalen says tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm curious about that. I think, like I've said this summer, I think some of the intention has been assigned, or it's like with the comment about Nick, some of it's been assigned to him, but he also left it open for interpretation that way. I want to see, and I asked you this, if there's any type of noticeable difference in Jalen's public comments, or if he remains like, I don't want to say defiant, but this is who I am. You guys make too big a deal about this.
Yeah, I think that's likely to happen, don't you think?
Yeah.
Okay.
I should also say Jalen Hurts he announced a foundation today.
Yeah.
He has a foundation, and the intentions of it are very good. And we
think.
Well, I spoke in the summer about the air conditioning in 10 schools in Philadelphia. I thought that was really like intentional. And what I'm going to read this specifically. Jalen Hurts launched the Jalen Hurts Foundation, which was founded to strengthen communities by serving, mentoring, and advancing youth.
There you go. I also think it's table stakes for us to say like that the actual most important thing is nobody suffers a season-ending injury.
Yep.
Like that's really the most important thing over the course of camp. But aside from that, of the like the camp battles that we expect and where guys are lining up, I don't think that where guys are lining up on the outside of cornerback the first week necessarily matters too much. Like if it's Isaiah Rodgers day one or week one, that doesn't mean that Quinion Mitchell or Keely Ringo might eventually overtake him. At right guard, I think it's going to be Tyler Steen for the first week, and I still think it's possible that Mekhi Becton overtakes him or somebody else does, but that's not going to happen in the first week is my expectation. I think the one position where it does matter to see who is installed day one is linebacker.
Yeah, I have that on my list here. Yep.
It's going to be Devin White. And now that Nakobe Dean is theoretically 100% ready to go and can be a full participant, if he is not, the starter opposite Devin White, and it is Zach Bond, I think that does matter. I think it tells you what Vic Fangio thinks of Nakobe Dean, what he's seen on tape, what he evaluates of him in person. And if it is Nakobe Dean, then maybe it was much ado about nothing in the spring, and that's what our expectation will be for week one.
That's a great point because it's no longer, as far as I know, about Nakobe Dean's health, right? Like he's had the full offseason now. Right. He should be healthy going into the summer. So if Nakobe Dean's not out there, if he's rotating with Zach Bond, that really shows this is a legit competition.
Okay.
Yeah, my next one, James Bradberry. We did not see James Bradberry during the spring. We thought we were going to see him for a mandatory minicamp, and then he got injured during a stretching period. So look, if James Bradberry, if there's like a lingering injury or something, my guess is that it's really...
I think we can roll our eyes about that.
Yeah, it's kind of them holding Bradberry back. They'll see about trading him, that kind of thing. But if Bradberry's out there, and we talked about this yesterday, I want to, is he playing safety? Is he second-team safety? Is he at corner? But how does James Bradberry look? Because, look, a year ago, James Bradberry he went into camp one of the most important players on the Eagles. 2 years ago, he was a second-team All-Pro. So, yeah, how James Bradberry looks is an important storyline here.
From a Jalen Hurts perspective, the specific thing that is interesting to me is he throwing to guys other than A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Dallas Goedert?
Good point.
Maybe that's Saquon Barkley. It would be nice if it was. Maybe it's Paris Campbell. Maybe it's Johnny Wilson or whoever. But in the flow of the offense, is the ball finding guys other than those top three? Because we know that he can throw the ball to those guys. And I think that would show a command of the offense that is maybe ahead of schedule.
That's a good point. And I think Saquon in particular. Now, I don't want to be misled like I was last year, but the Eagles they signed Saquon to be a 300-touch guy, to 275 to 300 touches, and that's not all going to come on the ground, right? It's going to come through the air. So I said on Anthony's show, and I believe this, if Saquon's not involved in the passing game, I don't think it's Kellen Moore's system. I think it's Jalen Hurts not throwing to the backs. because there is history of Kellen Moore's system incorporating the backs, right? And there is history of Jalen not throwing it. And like we've said, Nick Sirianni, when Nick Sirianni got here, he was candid about, like, we're going to throw the ball to the running backs in this offense. And then last year he was saying Saquon Barkley has receiver hands, right? So I think Nick Sirianni wants to throw the ball to the running backs, but Jalen's the one who delivers the ball.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I'm going to stay on the wide receiver wavelength here because the first week of camp, that's what we're talking about in particular. There's no hitting, there's no pads on the first week of camp. So the linemen, even the linebackers, you can't really tell as much early in camp, and I shouldn't even say hitting, but there's no pads on, so it's a little different type of intensity. But you can typically see skill players, and so is there a third receiver who emerges here? Does Paris Campbell look really good? Does John Ross carry momentum into training camp? Does Anaya Smith, someone who I think, like, if Smith is good, he has a shot at being the third wide receiver. Does he emerge? So I want to see, is there a wide receiver who starts to separate himself during the first week of camp?
Okay, well said. For me, very in the weeds on the offensive line, but to the point of the Tyler Steen trust, does it continue that Matt Hennessy is only taking his snaps at right guard and not practicing at center? Is Mekhi Becton getting a lot of work at guard, even if it's on the left side? I think the way that the second team offensive line rotates will tell us a little bit about their relative faith in Tyler Steen.
I want to ask you, because we made a bigger deal about Matt Hennessy.
Is Trevor Keegan working on the right side?
We made a bigger deal about Matt Hennessy because of when he signed. We were talking about the additions during free agency. We did not talk much about Max Sharping when they signed Max Sharping.
Yeah.
Do you view Sharping and Hennessy on the same level?
No.
Okay, and why not?
Because they signed one guy the first week of free agency and they signed the other guy in June.
Okay. Is there anything to the fact that they signed Sharping after seeing Hennessy on the field or seeing these guys on the field?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Do you?
I don't, but it's just something that I've seen out there. So that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, I think that's more just getting ahead of depth things, and this is a guy who has a baseline level of competence that is still available.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm excited to see Saquon because, not to say this is going to be like A.J. Brown in 2022 or T.O. in 2024. I was at that training camp. But you get a high-profile player who comes into your offense. Every time they touch the ball, there's a buzz among the crowd, right? And it might be a little different for a running back. But Saquon is he's a star. Right. Besides the contract, he's not getting paid more than Bryce Huff. He's not getting paid. There's a lot of guys, or there's a number of guys on the team getting paid more than him. But from like a profile perspective, he's a star, and you want to see how he looks in practice. We don't get to see much of it during the spring. I want to see more during the summer.
Okay. Last one for me is from how does Vic Fangio prepare these guys perspective, the versatile guys, the positionless players, if you will. Cooper DeJean, Avonte Maddox, where are they lining up? How many different places are they lining up? Nolan Smith, is he doing some interesting stuff? Even Quinyon Mitchell, who spent a little bit of time in the slot in the spring, is he working at multiple positions? I'm just curious to see how he is putting that puzzle together and evaluating all the different moving parts.
I like that.
We all silly like the mayor.